Hello, my name's Tammy Cariello. I live here in New Jersey currently. I say currently because I am an ex-military wife and I have lived in Texas and twice we've had tours in Germany. I am a registered nurse. I work in a small community hospital on the telemetry floor. Telemetry, for people that don't know what that means, is basically heart monitoring. I've been doing that about 15 years, and as times are changing, even though I have an ASN and I've have 15 years of experience, more and more hospitals are not going to hire people unless they have their bachelor's. So that's what I'm working on. I may or may not pursue something after that, but as far as I know, right now at this moment, I don't really have plans to change jobs. I'll continue being a bedside nurse. That's what I enjoy. I'm married. I have 4 children. They are all over the age of 18, so whew, there's that. Hobbies. Well, my hobbies used to be community theater. That's actually how I met my husband initially. But ever since I became a nurse, I really don't have the time, and I can't commit that I'll be there on weekends because I have to work so many weekends every month, so that's a little difficult. I joke now that my hobby is food hoarding. I love to shop, and I shop at multiple grocery stores and other places, searching out weird and exotic things. I have a giant freezer downstairs and I have a freezer upstairs, and everybody knows that Tammy's good for some food. So that's my hobby now. As far as a story where I learned a lesson, I have a lot of those stories, some having to do with medical and some not. So I had to really think hard about what I wanted to share. And I guess the most recent lesson that I've learned had to do with when I was in Germany and my children were still young and at home, and I was going to a very fundamentalist church, legalistic, and I made a friend there. Her name was Mandy, and Mandy I thought was a terrific girl, and we really enjoyed each other, and in all honesty, we kind of got along because we both felt like a little bit like the rebels in the church. Anyway, one day Mandy had gone out the night before and she had had a little bit, she wasn't used to drinking, she'd had a little bit too much to drink. And the next morning she called me up telling me that she was really sick. And I told her, well, I think you have a hangover. She said, no, 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 it's not a hangover. And she asked me if I would drive her to the little local clinic, which I did. We went to the clinic and they told her basically what I told her, which is you have a hangover. She didn't like that answer, so she wanted me to take her to the military hospital. The military hospital I had never been to. She swore that she knew how to get there. I said, okay, I will take you. Now, at that time, which was probably the early 90s, and I'm sure they still do it, you had to buy coupons for gas, and you could only use these coupons at certain gas stations, the American military. So I go to take her to this hospital. Anyway, she didn't really know how to find her way there. And we end up in the middle of, I don't know where, Germany. I don't speak German. She doesn't speak German. And I can see that I'm going through a substantial amount of gas. Yes, I should have checked my tank before I left, but I have a tendency not to. Anyway, as I see the meter getting closer and closer to empty, I start to panic and become fearful. Now, one of my unfortunately continuing tendencies is that when I get anxious and fearful, I tend to respond in anger. So as I'm driving through the country of Germany and I'm watching my tank on fumes and I can't find a gas station that will take my coupons, I start letting out in a string of profanity. Now, not directed towards Mandy, but just towards the situation itself. And this goes on, and I keep apologizing to her, Mandy, it's not you, I'm so sorry, I'm just panicking. So this went on. We finally did find the hospital. They told her the same thing, which was she'd had a little bit too much to drink, and I brought her home. And after that, I never really had alone time again with her, and very quickly after that, I kind of just stopped seeing her. Now, I have to add to that story a backstory, which is that Mandy had a cat named Toby. I loved this cat. This cat was the most like a dog a cat has ever been. I always told Mandy, Mandy, if you ever want to get rid of Toby, I want him. I love this cat. So anyway, after this happened and she kind of ghosted out of my life, I found out through someone else that we both knew that Mandy had left Germany and come back to the States, and that they had Toby. Well, I was really ticked off because I had always told Mandy, I love this cat. If you ever get rid of this cat, I want this cat. Anyway, I did take Toby, had Toby for many, many years. Then Facebook blew up, and lo and behold, I hear from Mandy on Facebook. Mostly where this happens because I shared some pictures of Toby. Anyway, as time goes by, Mandy writes me this very nice long message on Messenger about how much she always enjoyed me, how intelligent she thought I was, and how funny she thought I was, and that the reason that I hadn't heard from her was because she was really going through some difficulty. So, not only have I heard from Mandy in this context, but actually I've heard from a couple of people in this context, people that I thought were angry with me or had dismissed me from their life, and then I found out that it wasn't what I thought, that they actually remembered me quite fondly, but there were other circumstances going on. So, the moral of that story, the lesson that I've learned, is not to presume that people have a certain feeling about me, that they're angry with me or they don't like me, that there may be other things going on and I may be totally misperceiving the situation. Anyway, that's the lesson that I wanted to share, and thank you very much for your time.